Hello, phenomenal you. Stephen Ward here, the Imperfect Speaker, and I want to say it's absolutely amazing to be conversating with you at this time. Now, I've never claimed to be a psychic, but I know one thing's for certain and two things for sure, and that's that you're going to be absolutely amazing at what it is you choose to do. Here's something else I know about you that you probably forgot, so I want to help you recall. That if you've just procrastinated with your dreams, you just dragged your foot because you felt you needed one more book to read, one more YouTube to watch. You just felt that you wasn't good enough at this time. I want you to know that you're absolutely ready right now to begin. I want you to keep going because you got this. Here's something else I want you to do. I want you to listen to you. Listen to that divine voice inside of you. You know, that voice that's guiding you, the one that's guiding you on your journey when the clouds come about. And it starts to get dark, and that voice that's guiding you in which direction to go in, that's your flashlight. That's the sign. That's the signal that's guiding you towards the exit. That's guiding you, letting you know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I want you to pay close attention to that voice. Here's something else I want you to do. I want you to continue to invest in you. Stop taking advantage of free samples. And if you like what it is that you see, and if you like what it is that you do, then go ahead and commit to it. Go ahead and invest yourself, immerse yourself inside of it. See, here's a true story. How many of you have ever been inside this situation where you would go to the mall and you would find yourself up going towards the food court because you started to get hungry? And you will come past the Express, the Oriental Express line that sells the General Tso's chicken or the orange chicken. And they will always have a servant out there handing out little samples of chicken with the wooden toothpick, and you would take one, knowing that it tasted good, knowing that it just quenched your hunger. It just quenched your thirst for your hunger inside of you. But here's something that I wouldn't do. I wouldn't commit right away. And see, the servant, they would extend their arm trying to guide me over there, trying to buy the entree, trying to invest in and commit inside that food vendor at that particular point in time. But what would I do? I would start to raise the mental inquiries inside my head. Knowing that I tasted the sample, I would say, you know what? Let me go explore other options to see what else it is that I want. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with exploring options. But here's what I'm trying to drive to you. At the end of the day, I will wind up circling right back to that same vendor. And then I would start looking at the menu, and then I would start contemplating, is this what I really want? And then I would ask for another sample, knowing that I just had a sample, knowing that I knew what it tasted like, knowing that that's probably what I really wanted, but I was just fighting myself just from committing. Now, let me tell you something. That might be a funny example right there, but I've carried that principle a long way inside my life for years, for decades. I would be scared to commit. I would be scared to invest in everything. Invest inside myself. Invest inside my relationship. Invest inside situations. Invest inside being good or being the best version of myself that I could be inside my job. And you know why? Because I was just content with the samples. I was just content with just getting sample after sample because there was no commitment. And I knew that I could just keep coming back and just keep getting samples if I wanted it. But I would never really fully invest inside of it. It's the same thing almost like when I would go to Sephora, the major retail chain that supplies all of the perfumes and the colognes. How many of us has been through this? How many of us has actually done this? We would go inside there, we would smell a cologne or the perfume that we want, but we wouldn't invest. We would just spray it on us and we would keep it going. And then when I found out that they would give out little samples, I would ask for a sample like 2 of the 3 top ones that I want. And I would select which one was the best one. And I would run out of that sample, but I wouldn't commit to buying it. I wouldn't invest inside of it. I would just go back and ask for another sample. I did that inside my life spiritually. How many of us have been inside of a situation where we find ourselves inside of a jam? We find ourselves with our backs up against the wall. We find ourselves praying. We find ourselves on our knees praying to God, hoping that he could get us out of that situation because we knew that he could. Just hoping that he would check his voicemail and get back in time and get back with us in time enough to help rectify whatever situation that we was going in. And he would always come through. But instead of investing in our faith, instead of deepening our faith, instead of not having that anxiety and that depression the next time the situation will come about, we would just go back inside that same routine. We would start panicking. I would start going into fight or flight mode when I found myself inside of a jam. Knowing that the sample in which he gave me before, in which I prayed, I would just go for sample after sample after sample, but I wouldn't invest in him. I wouldn't say, you know what, I fully believe in you to the point where I'm not going to become depressed. I'm not going to have anxiety. I'm not going to, just get myself all riled up inside of a situation because I know that if I come to you, I know that everything is going to be all right. I failed to invest inside of him. I failed to commit. How many of us do that? Stop taking advantage of the samples, especially if it's something that you like, especially if it's something that you're content with. Don't be content We're just taking all of the samples and not investing in you, not investing in that product. Invest in the product if you like the samples. Your dreams, your goals, your vision, your passion. How many times have you pulled yourself through thinking that you couldn't do something, thinking that you couldn't achieve something, thinking that you couldn't reach something, thinking that you couldn't touch something, and you just proved yourself wrong? But over and over and over and over and over again, you start putting yourself back inside that fight or flight mode when it comes down to doing something. You put yourself back in that fight or flight mode when it comes to a new section in your dream, when it comes to a new partition inside of what it is that you want to do, when you start to advance, when things start to get, up climb, when you start going up an up climb, when things start to progress. You still just find yourself just with your head buried in the dirt, just thinking, what is it that I'm going to do? But you already had a sample of what it was like to believe in yourself. You already had a sample of what it was like to trust in yourself. You already had a sample of what it was like to be yourself. But yet and still, you didn't invest in you. You didn't learn from that sample. You didn't take advantage of that and say, you know what? If I like the sample, I'm going to invest in me even more. You didn't do that. So my message today, stop taking advantage of the free samples. Stop taking all the orange chicken. Invest in the meal. Invest in the course. Invest in yourself. Invest in you. Till next time.